roll call. I'll do it. Gary Delville, here. Mike Vogel,
Here.
Matt Schuler,
Here.
and Mike Worley.
Here.
So we definitely have a quorum. Are we eventually going to have a representative from the city council, or do you have any idea what the deal is with that?
I believe so. I think they're still making appointments, so.
Okay. Mr. Domain gets beat.
Probably, and I think it might be, I don't remember, but I think it might be Tom Dwayne this time, so we'll have to see how
that'd be
the
great.
appointments go.
Tom who?
Tom Dwayne.
His brother.
Okay.
So it may still be, yeah,
Okay.
very similar.
That's fine. Approval of minutes from the 3/15/16 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion. Second.
A motion and a second to approve of minutes of the 3/15/16 meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna do a review of status of outstanding loans. But first, we have the one question, Wendy, which I'm sure you're gonna address.
Yeah, I called them and they just, it's very, actually I didn't call them. It's really unusual. I
Yeah.
talked to Stephanie and she said she'll just look into it here. So she said this is very unusual. They always usually are up to date and usually pay around the 11th. So we'll just check into it, but that's not typical. So
Okay.
when we ran the report, she said, she was kind of surprised to see
So
that.
there's no reason to do any action, obviously.
It's still during the month, but we'll
Okay.
kind of let them know that it's the end of the month and so it's probably time
Excellent.
to.
Entertain a motion to accept the loan status report.
I'll move. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Mike and Matt, Mike Vogel and Matt. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So move. Okay, we have one thing on the agenda, that's review and action on revolving loan fund loan application from Roots Knight LLC. Wendy, why don't you kick it off and just give us a little bit of background? We'll start with that.
Yeah, Roots on Ninth LLC is requesting two loans. So one, they're gonna use, it's $35,000 for vehicle equipment, and there's a list there of items that they'll be purchasing. With the,
I'd like to get that. Vogel get it? Oh, there it is.
you have that right there. It's just firming up some numbers, so we had that kind of as a little add-on ladder, just in her confirmation. They've been getting everything ready and working around the clock to get for an opening. They're having a great opening on Friday, so things are moving very quickly for them. It's the spring planting season, so another $35,000 would be for working capital. This is wages inventory for their new floral business. So they're taking over the former Parmentiers business. So this is Jamie Hemingway and her husband. They've recently purchased the former Parmentier Floral on 9th Street and will be opening a new floral business in the same location under the name Roots on 9th LLC, which is being transferred into a modern, edgy botanical experience. Jamie has been working in this industry for about 13 years. She's worked in the floral and greenhouse business, but she's ready to obviously make a move into owning her own business. She's worked for another person and has had that experience and is ready to do that. She's a graduate of eHub and worked with Mark Burwell. Yes, I was going to say, I didn't put his name in here. And has also worked with Chuck Bryce over at the SBDC to create her business plan and financial projections. So she's been doing some legwork and background to prepare herself to own her own business. Roots will offer some event design, planning and rentals and custom arrangements and some accent decors that are new and modern. And Roots is going to be unlike anything else in the area. She's going to look to design things that are different than currently exist. It will provide outstanding service, unconventional arrangements, and one-of-a-kind bouquets. You see some of them in your brochure. She's going to offer also classes as another item and flower arrangements. The staff is recommending granting the request for the revolving loan funds for working capital and purchasing equipment and inventory to start her new floral business. The application is here. All the attachments include the project summary, a business plan, all the other documents that are required by the program guidelines. Environmentals are done and reviewed. So that's kind of the project summary.
We have questions for the loan applicants. We can open the meeting, or we can continue asking Wendy questions. What's your desire?
I would, excuse me. I'd love to open up some meeting for Jamie to be able to just tell us a little bit about the business.
Great.
Why she bought it, right, what you're trying to do, and just really
Sure.
understand that story.
Do you want to just
all
come
about
up to the
that.
table? Is it
Yeah,
easier?
please.
Yeah, that'd be
This is
fine.
kind of, we don't, this is.
That's a motion,
been in
is
here
there a
for-
Second.
Yeah, well, it's
Okay,
kind of,
motion
it's
second,
kind of.
meeting, all those in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Jamie,
Hi,
welcome.
thank you.
And your helper.
Yes.
That's how that works, right?
Overworked helper.
Yeah, I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Tell us a little bit.
Okay, I've been at Mayflower Greenhouse for the past 13, 14 years now. And I was just looking for a change. I really love and enjoy doing cut flowers, and that's something Mayflower wasn't doing. And I was doing a little bit of that on the side, and I was getting up to, 10, 15 weddings, and I thought I could really maybe do something with this. And then Parmentiers kind of had the best of both worlds, where I have a couple of little greenhouses. I can still keep a lot of my clientele that I've had for years now, and still do the cut flower thing that I really have a passion for. So,
One of the questions, if I understand correctly, the balloon, the land contract, it's a balloon payment after 3 years, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's all, are you worried about that? Is that a challenge, or what's your hopes there?
well, when we bought the business, we were gonna just go for a loan and get the, through
Yes.
a bank.
Yes,
But Parmentiers wasn't really willing to offer the past financials of the business, and so we would have to treat it like a startup. And because we were racing the clock to get in there and get ready for springtime and Mother's Day being less than 2 weeks away, we thought that that would be the best option for us. And then we could establish those.
The business?
Yep, those financials and stuff for the business, and be able to go back and get that balloon payment at the end.
okay.
So,
Mr. Vogel, you must have a ton of questions.
No, I don't. I guess, so they didn't, the bank, you're doing a home equity loan, is that what you're doing to put your funds in?
we talked a little bit about that, so.
They've got an appraisal on their home,
I see
and
that.
there is about 61,000 in equity there. We would be securing our working capital loan with their home equity.
Oh, you would?
Yep.
Okay.
And so that was where we were coming in. They had the land contract with Parmentiers. We have a copy of that.
Yeah.
It was kind of unusual that they weren't able to get financials, so she worked with, which is, usually they want you wildly successful so that
Right.
everything can turn over, but they weren't willing to share any financials. So she worked diligently with Chuck, who did his best analysis and went back and analyzed and came up with the fact that he thought that they were in about the 600,000 range of production,
Yeah.
and had that for their numbers. In doing some of the due diligence, we found out that they were one of the top 150 florists, I think, in the world. Is that, it seems kind of like,
Yeah.
or in the nation for sure, but they had all these great historical markers.
So they wouldn't
that
give
were-
it to you because they're going to be competing with you, is that why?
Well, they had 2 locations.
Yeah,
So they
one
had
on
a
the east
Bellevue
side,
location and then the 9th Street location that we bought. And they said that there would never be a way to tell what we would, that all of the financials were mixed together. All the payroll and everything was done together, and they just,
Did they not close about a year ago?
they closed last June.
But they still have an
So-
east side location over by the right place.
Yep, and that one will reopen.
They will keep that as a seasonal
Yep,
facility?
basically like a month and a week, I think they keep that open. So they're gonna redo that again this year. So
But they don't cut flowers and?
Nope, just the greenhouse
So
part of it.
the land contract really doesn't have a lien on the home, the
Sure.
house? Okay, so we'd be first position.
It's on, against the building, isn't it?
Yeah, you won't be in first position.
Okay, that's
Okay.
typically where.
We'll be second and for equity. I
Yeah,
would
land
think.
contract, they're just, their mortgage is still out there or whatever.
Okay.
They still technically own it.
But how
They're
about,
getting ownership, but if they default on it, they just go divert.
but how about the 35,000 equipment?
That's a second on their home.
The second on their
Okay.
home.
All
Yeah.
right,
Not the Parmentier property.
No,
No.
okay,
our own house.
So we'll be a second position in that, Michael, right?
Right.
all right.
And we'll be,
Which is typical, I mean, it's not typical for us. Okay.
how is the condition of that property, I think?
It's looking really good right now.
Oh, you've been in there then?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so
We've
you,
been working
technically,
on it.
you own this under a land contract now, because you
Yeah.
did
Land
that.
contract is
We
there.
closed on that on March 18th. We
They're-
signed and we
they're
went to
opening on
work that
Friday.
same
Sorry.
day, so.
That's no problem.
Gotten a complete facelift.
This is today's, yesterday's.
Can you rent that, is that house a rental property then? So you can
Mhm.
rent that and you'll generate revenue
Yep.
from that?
So,
Who's your competition? Oh, I'm sorry, Lenny.
In the financials with the house, they have calculated about $800 worth of rent for the income of that. Do you know when you're gonna, this one question I had down that I didn't ask you earlier, but do you know when, I know right now the push is to get the greenhouse open,
Yeah.
it's time, but when you would add that into your financial, is it after the growing season that you would go back
definitely
to?
by June,
Okay.
definitely by June. If not, what, the store is ready to roll right now, so our time will start being invested.
I
This
apologize
time.
for some of those questions. I didn't
That's
get
okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the house versus the business, but obviously they have to get the business going with the timing of everything in the greenhouse. And then the house would fall into line with getting a rental.
Who's your competition?
We have Green Bay Nursery, but you know Green Bay Nursery is a lot for shrubs, trees and stuff. They do very few annuals. And then for the cut side of it, Burst is on the corner, kind of in that little strip mall. I think he does,
Weddings in fall.
yeah. the cut
So that's, so it
place.
sounds like that's a market that you can potentially grow.
Yeah,
Schrader's would be,
yeah, they would still be in that same realm.
But people like the personal touch of a smaller.
Yeah, they really do. I
Yeah.
mean, just the people that have stopped by on a daily basis and welcomed us to the neighborhood is kind of
Well, it makes you feel
unbelievable.
good.
Yeah, it's unbelievable
House
every
work.
day. So,
Everybody's happy to see it stay the same, and
so your helper's gonna stay helping, or he's gonna keep doing his
I'm going,
carpentry?
I'm going back to my easy life of working 4 tons and
What do you do, if I may
do
ask?
commercial flooring, sheet tile.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sure, sure.
I just see her name in here. I didn't see your name.
I'm in the background.
You're in the
When I looked at this, right up on apartment
Okay.
Explorer, it said 3 lots, house and business property. So obviously, house we talked about. So is there 3 lots outside of the business property? No, it's the 3 lots are
It's-
part of the business property,
yeah.
right? Okay, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's what I thought.
There's a lot there. When I toured the property, it kind of just goes on and on and on. There's another room and another building and another building and another, it's just,
It's deep.
yeah, it is.
You don't realize
Everybody
how
that
deep
comes
it
in says, I
And
can't
that's why-
believe how big this is. I never knew it was this
that's why I thought
big."
it was worth mentioning that it's not just a single lot, that there's a lot of, they got a lot for their money, I think, when they purchased it, for the 150 or something that it was.
Yeah.
155, that I thought there was a lot of property there. for the-
Matt usually has some good questions.
Well, thank you.
He's saying, he's so reliant.
I mean, yeah, he's quiet, which is not normal.
Yeah.
No, just as you think about, right, the revenues that are in your business plan, you've got revenues in here for years 1, 2, and 3. And it sounds like they've been reduced from what Parmentier
Yeah.
was probably doing as a business. How did you come up with your financial projections?
Bruce and I, we just talked about, a lot about like the average bouquet that's gonna go out the door. And we come up with right around the $60 range, hopefully $50, $60 range. And we kind of went off of that because talking with Jim, the previous owner, he said that 25% of the business was the greenhouse side of it, the bedding plants and all
Sure,
of that.
sure.
And 75 to 80% was cut flowers because it's a year-round business. So that's basically where we started with the average price of an arrangement, how many we thought we could do per day. And then we included like events, you know, how many weddings would we do in the busy seasons in May, June, and then in August, September, and those fall weddings and stuff, and kind of try to break it down. I mean, really break it down so I could have a decent idea of
Okay.
where we were gonna sit.
And as you think about your revenue projections, do you think they're conservative? Do you think they're hard to reach?
I think they're pretty conservative. And I feel a little bit more optimistic every single day, you know, just by the amount of people that come in and are encouraging for the whole thing, so.
And As you know, one of the most important things to make a company successful is advertising and promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Have you given much thought on how you're gonna go about doing that?
Yeah, I've reached out a little bit,
Oh, I
yeah.
see that, yeah, so this morning.
That was in my business plan, was one of the things, that, just the years that I spent at Mayflower, was those personal connections, and one was Kendra Minor with the Press Gazette. The Fox 11 will be there tomorrow. I'm gonna do 4 segments on Fox 11 in the morning.
Good.
So those are just the resources that I was able to
Sure.
tap into that I had but yeah, I definitely would like to get some advertising out, radio, Facebook, of course. I'm gonna make a huge push
Good.
on Facebook.
Internet, you have a page on the internet?
Yep, I started
Oh, you
a
do?
page,
Good.
yep. And so we
Good.
got a couple hundred likes. The newspaper article helped, so.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll start paying for some of those in this next coming week. We just wanna make sure the doors are open before we made a big push on that.
How was Mayflower dealing with this?
I don't really know. I mean, I like to think that we're on good terms. We're still talking. I spend a lot of my time there, so they'll adjust. We had the previous owner passed away. It would be 6 years ago now, and we survived that. So they'll survive me leaving too.
You really are not geographically that close to each other. I mean,
No.
So it should have a massive impact over it.
Yeah,
And you're creating more of a new market than what they had,
yeah.
so.
That's what I like to think too.
Okay.
Other questions? If you feel it's necessary, we can go in closed session. Personally, I don't think it's necessary, but if you do, we will.
Question for Wendy. Given that part of this is structured as working capital, do we need to structure this as 2 loans? Or is it one, we do need to structure it as 2 loans?
That's how it's requested. That's how she said
As
it.
2 loans, okay. And because I knew it marked it as 35
You can
and
vote on them
35.
separately, you can vote on them together, however you'd like to break them.
And
out.
do the terms become different then on each
Yes,
loan?
they do.
Okay.
And so on the, so to just clarify, on the working capital loan, it's going to be for $35,000. It's at an interest rate of 5%. It'll be for 3 years.
Is that in our packet that I missed it?
Um,
I didn't see it.
If I didn't put that in, I have it written on my first page of my information, and so I may not have done that because it's just the inside of my packet.
You don't have a handout for
But
us?
I will,
I just read it down. I'm good.
So how do you come up with that interest rate though?
that was something that was decided departmentally.
And that's certainly,
I believe we reviewed that too.
well, it's up to us.
And it's up to us to approve the
Right,
change.
every loan is unique and we can change that if we feel it's necessary.
That was actually decided on when Greg was here, I think before my coming on,
I
that
thought it was
working capital.
floating though. I thought it was tied to prime.
Okay, maybe that could be something different. But in the guidelines that I was working off of, it was working capitals are at 5% with a 3-year duration. Just because of it being, this one would be different because we're securing it
Okay.
actually to
Right, and so the
per home.
so is it actually a line of credit or is it just hand?
It's going to
they
be
get
just a check.
They get a check for 35.
And that's a good
And
question
they make
because-
payments immediate.
Right.
Okay.
And it's different, I don't know if we have any line of credit, but that was how I would actually imagine this to technically be.
And it's really on a working capital loan.
Yeah, and so typically, all of the loans that I've worked with at the city, we just gave them the check and they turned in their receipts and then made the monthly payments starting from that point forward. But I'm willing to.
There's really no receipts for this, for working capital.
Oh, not working capital, I'm sorry, not this one.
No.
For the equipment
Right.
purchases.
Right.
Yeah, the other
And
one.
what's
So-
that rate one? Yeah, that one again is,
So that one is,
That's
so
seven.
the other 35,000 for the equipment is at 4%. And depending on the equipment, but this time we're going out 10 years, that's the max.
And that was my only question, why?
We probably would have liked to go 8, but with them having this large payment on the working capital, I thought maybe just to,
So in 3 years, you gotta come up with, what, 28,000 or something like that? Oh, and are you amortizing the whole thing over 3 years?
no, the working capital, I have the
Yeah, that part.
amortization schedule in here. So the workings, I think I gave that to you as well. So the working capital, let me go back
I
to
assume that was
the
over.
equipment. Do I have that with you? Because I thought I said all that.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
in the back.
Okay, in the back of the application page. So if you look at the, since we're working with the, talking about the working capital loan, that one's gonna go for 3 years, so 36 months. Roughly, you do the math, it's a little over $1,000 a month, it's
Right.
$1,033.34 for that one, for a
Yes.
3-year amortization at the 5% interest rate. Which is, I just followed the guidelines that are here. If we want to change that, I certainly can do that. And then the other loan is out for the 10-year, so 120 months. It's, that payment is, you can see the payment amount, $354. She has another.
Mr. Chairman, do we have precedent on that working capital at a 3-year payoff versus a 5?
We can make.
We can alter anything. That is, so,
Yes. I mean, we can change anything we want as far as, I mean, any of the terms.
Michael, your reasoning there is that in 3 years, there's a balloon payment coming due.
Not with this loan.
No, no,
That
this
was
loan.
another loan and every, in 3 years.
Be a tough
Yeah, that's
one.
why I was asking, if you did a 3-year note and a 5-year amortization, so they'd have 2 balloons in 3 years, they'd have to pay this one off.
But could we-
But at that point, they're gonna be talking to a bank about an SBA long-term loan.
they'll have financials and a 3-year track record at that point as well.
Right.
This is seen as more of a startup because of there's no previous financials.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they're just, you're giving them $35,000, but they're gonna be paying you back with their $35,000 for the next 3 or 4 months. Because they're just starting, they're not gonna be
Yeah.
cash.
Well-
Right.
Because that is their working capital. Is there an issue with the committee if we make that a 5-year amortization?
Yeah, that's what I would,
I would move that instead of 3 to 5.
We're able to change those terms. There's certain guidelines within the HUD pieces that are not
Okay.
work changeable. That is absolutely something the committee can decide. We can go out.
so we can make a motion on any we can make a
Yes, we can.
recommendation on anything we
On the
want.
Yes, we can.
percentages or
Yes, we can.
on
Okay.
the duration.
But the rate can't be,
The rate can be as well altered.
Well, the
I
rate,
thought the 4% was a requirement.
not really,
That is
but,
not a
but
requirement.
it has been what we've been going with, but it is not a,
We're not trying to make money.
no, we're trying to help out, we're trying to make something happen.
For example, I just recently, just as an example, I just recently went to a meeting on this throughout, we had a state meeting and De Pere has a 3% on their revolving loan. But they also have a $20,000 per project where we have hired, so it's $35,000. So each municipality that has
So our
this-
max on working capital is 35.
That's correct.
Would, and also, this is a question for you, given that, I see equipment list here that comes to 40,
Right,
and I'm assuming the real need here is for $70,000. Would you rather have that structured as 40,000 on equipment and 30,000 on working capital? It's gonna make the monthly payment schedule
Right, I mean, you're gonna take,
better.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I saw that too. The numbers were missing $4,000.
mhm.
Because it certainly looks like there's validation
Can I-
here.
why can't you just do $70,000 over 10 years?
That would be my hope. I wasn't sure because we,
I mean, why do you just take the working capital out of it? I mean, we do
and do
loans
all the,
unsecured.
because.
You're doing an unsecured loan anyway.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah, but in the
and-
second position, I understand what you're saying, I understand what you're saying.
I was trying to operate within some of the guidelines that we had with the job creation stuff and everything, and we could certainly do that. I just didn't know because we didn't have equipment list for all of the items in the 70,000, because some of
Take a
it's gonna be.
second mortgage on their home, you're
Yep.
gonna get the same thing.
I'm absolutely fine with that. It
And
makes
an
perfect
equipment
sense.
list.
You have both, and then their payment goes from 350 to probably 700
Yeah,
instead of.
I think it's a much
Instead of
better,
actually
What is it,
1,400.
Yeah.
Did
it's just like having a
did you
second
follow
mortgage on
that?
your home for a business.
So for purpose of discussion, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd make a motion that we would structure the loan as a $70,000 loan
Right.
at 4% for 10-year amortization.
If we're at that point, let's make a motion, go back to regular business. If we're at the point of making a motion. I mean,
Yeah, we're still in the
but-
open session.
Yep, so we're
Right.
closing the floor.
So I'd make a
before
motion
you-
to-
But, so are you okay with that? Is
I
that what
would
you
want to ask them,
Yes.
does that work?
Oh, sorry.
Before we go back and do our.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, if we did that, it's gonna reduce your payment by $700 or $800 a month, $700 a month.
I'm just concerned
Yeah.
as a startup, and then you're gonna get hammered with a balloon on the land contract,
Yeah,
you know, so.
And
We
there will
thought-
be
that we have the
Thought about
flexibility to
that.
do that.
yeah.
What'd you say?
There will be surprises to
There-
business.
you never
Sorry,
know.
all it is.
There always is.
Well, then in 2-3 years, when you go to do the house, to do the refinance,
Mhm.
maybe you just pay this off.
You might be able to look at a bigger.
Because you could get
Yeah.
an SBA loan. to
Hopefully
get
your
for-
sales
get the
projections
whole
are
thing
above,
done.
or
Yeah,
sales
I
are
hope
above
so.
your projections.
Yeah.
All right, motion to return to regular order business.
Motion to return to regular business, second?
Second.
Motion and second. Mike Borley and Matt, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Okay, now, I don't think there's any need to go to closed session unless you do. And with that in mind, I would entertain a motion on the project. That's another discussion.
So Mike, make the motion.
Please.
I make a motion to approve a financial package of a $70,000 loan at 4% amortized over 10 years, with the equipment as collateral as well as a second on the equity in the home.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Everybody heard the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
Did you put the rate in that?
You gotta sweat less.
Oh, yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. Thank
Good
you.
luck. Good luck.
Thanks. Appreciate
I have
it.
to look at
I
it.
gotta
Back to
tell
work.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Hey there.
Thank you.
This is
Well, now we
awesome.
don't have to stop.
So I just wanted to show you guys, they're in the front page of the
saw that
business news,
today.
which is very cool.
Actually, it was great. I went to sit down at lunch today. That was in our break room at work, and I'm like, oh, well, this is perfect timing.
Yeah.
But
this really
we've been
helps.
working, trying to get this through as fast as possible, so thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
Right away on short notice and making this happen. Obviously, time
Chair
is
rules,
money,
we are adjourned.
especially in this industry, so.
There,
Yeah,
there.
we're good.
We all get the.
We open Saturday.
We all get-
Come on down.
Come on down, yeah.
Okay.
All the best to you.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.